So in this video, I want to go over the importance of muscle pliability. And what it does for the muscle is it really allows it to function to its max potential. So muscle pliability is the muscle's ability to allow water and blood and fluid within the body to pass through it. What that does is the muscle is 70% water. So if the muscle is 70% water, that means that it needs fluid in order for it to stretch and contract. And it actually makes sense. If a deoxygenated, dehydrated muscle looks like beef jerky, then a sirloin steak would look like a nice, juicy, watery steak. I like to think of it like that. The reason why I think of it like that is because that's exactly what the muscle looks like when it's dehydrated. So think of beef jerky as being a dehydrated muscle. That muscle's not able to stretch and contract. The same thing happens for people, for athletes, and anyone in particular, when they start weight training and they start building muscle. So I start weight training, I start building muscle, and I'm forming the muscle. And usually what happens is when you're done strength training, especially in the beginning, your muscle gets harder. And since the muscle gets harder, people think, oh, I'm gaining muscle. And yes, you are. But that hardness of the muscle means that the muscle is dense. So think of density like a brick or a rock. It's going to be really hard for water and fluid to pass through. And if the muscle is 70% water, it needs that fluid to pass through so that it's just about applying pressure to the muscle. So like if we all obviously in a great world, in a perfect world, we all have body coaches that are able to massage our muscle and all we need to do is flex and contract. Like for instance, professional athletes have that and they have body coaches where they're able to have manual treatment each and every day and they could just kind of flex their muscle, relax it over and over and over again, and they'll feel better. That speeds up the recovery process. But if you don't have that, you have to do self myofascial release, which is totally doable. And all it takes is just a little bit of effort. Like for instance, if I was laying down and somebody was manually giving me treatment, I don't really have to do much work. That's not much labor. But if we want to do it ourselves so that we can do it more consistently and that we don't have to rely on another person to be able to work on us, well, we have to learn self myofascial release. And to be honest with you, there's really two ways of doing it. You have a way where maybe you're using a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball and you're just kind of putting it on a spot on the muscle and you're just flexing and relaxing. Or you also have other forms of like foam rolling where you could just be foam roll massaging the muscle. But that is really important. That paired with hydration. So if you have those two things paired together, now obviously there's another form that I think is really important, and that's the mobility and the flexibility side as well. But if you really want to recover your muscle to its max potential and also improve range of motion, myofascial release alongside with proper hydration and then getting on a training program that is meant for stretching the muscle, but also strengthening the muscle. When you can stretch a muscle and strengthen the muscle, this is something that Ben Patrick talks about, and it's all in his training philosophy. He's the creator of ATG. They run online programs as well. Something that I like about the ATG split squat is that it's putting yourself in a position where you're stretching the muscle and then you're contracting it, but it's putting your muscle and your joints in the max range that it possibly could get into under stress. And when a muscle's under stress, that's the resistance training piece. And then you're able to contract. So now you're building the muscle while also strengthening the muscle, and that's improving your pliability as well. But those three things paired together. So when you're thinking about water, you're thinking about myofascial release treatment, and then you're also thinking about a training program that is putting you in positions that are both stretching and also strengthening your muscle through resistance training, I think is super beneficial for you to be able to speed up and increase your pliability, and that speeds up your recovery. Imagine you're able to play, and this is something that me as an athlete I had to work through, was that I was training really hard to the point that I was like too sore. And then you're showing up to practice and you're not, like, let's say it's a scale of 1 to 100. That first day of practice, you're well rested, you feel great, you're also motivated, you're positive. You jump the gun, you feel amazing in that first practice. Great. Practice number 2 comes, practice number 3, 7, 10, 14. Now things start to build up and you start to get tired and fatigued. Maybe your skills, maybe your skills are getting better, and maybe your IQ is getting better because you're playing the game more often. But if we really want to talk about maximizing your body's play and your body's capability of like producing output, then structured training program and recovery is the most important thing that we could possibly be teaching athletes. And that's something that, like, within my program, when I think about the most important thing to be teaching, it's the recovery piece, because that is the piece that I think large majority of athletes, including myself for a really long time, are missing. And that's the one thing. It's like athletes are trying to find the answer, right? Like they're looking for the answer here or there. The answer is within oneself. The answer is here for you. The answer is totally, like, it's right in front of you. It's just about acknowledging what it is that's holding you back from taking that next step. And to me, like, if I'm playing and my body doesn't feel its best, that's taking its toll out on me mentally. That's making me almost mentally check out prior to me physically checking out as well, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm in pain. I can't give 100 here, because what if I need to give 100 in this other situation? And that's why, like, conditioning your body, and this is even at the collegiate level, is like, I think that sometimes teams practice too much to where, like, now it's like, okay, we're boom, 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 boom. And that's why it's even more important that you practice recovery routine. Because right now it's too much for a lot of athletes, and a lot of athletes are training and they feel really sore. They're at practice, they feel really sore. They're at games, they don't feel 100%, but yet they keep showing up and they're not even doing pliability training. I know most athletes probably aren't even hydrating enough. If you're not drinking 32 ounces plus within the first hour of you waking up, you are not hydrated. That's a fact. There is nothing else in that category, is that if you are not chugging water first thing in your morning when you wake up, that is a fact that you are absolutely not hydrated. No matter how much water you possibly think that you drank throughout the day, if you don't chug water here and there, it's impossible. And that's what, like, I'm telling you, when you think about it, it's very hard to drink too much water. And to be honest with you, there's no real, like, surplus, oh, I done too much that it's not good for me. Because your mind and your muscle is 70% water. And that's something that's fully in our control. And that's something that improves your muscle pliability, alongside with myofascial release, alongside with training programs that focus on stretching and contracting muscle groups, putting your body in the same position that it was meant to do so that you can maximize your game. And that's something that, you know, for me, the hardest part about training myofascial release, the water comes easy to me because I know now that it makes me feel good. And when it first started, like, there was a couple times I almost threw up, or there was a couple times where, like, I was like, oh, okay, I don't, but I just stayed consistent for a really long time. And now it's just part of my life. And I'm telling you, as soon as I drink it, I immediately wake up. Like no matter what, I could feel really tired first thing in the morning. And if I drink water, like chug water, an entire glass, 32 ounces or more, I immediately feel more awake. And it happens instantaneously. And like so many people, they're relying on coffee, they're relying on other things. And it's just like, are you hydrating enough? Why don't you practice hydration? Watch how much energy you gain after you practice hydration. And that's something that improves your pliability. The hardest part about myofascial release, and I said that before, and that's why I wanted to go back to it, was, and I do keep mentioning water, but it's because that's really the most important thing. The myofascial release, what the myofascial release is doing is it's breaking up your muscle tissue so that it's more permeable for the water to pass through. It hurts. It's a little painful. And it's something that you have to push through because you're pushing through it so that when you take that check or when you take that kick or when you take something, you're able to, like, your body's able to, muscle is able to flex, relax, and you feel less pain. You're doing it so that when you're doing a sprint, all of your muscles that are supposed to be active during a sprint are working properly because they're able to recover because they're not dense. You're doing it so that your body feels good while you're playing in your sport. Because when your body feels good while you're playing in your sport, you're going to feel more confident, you're going to feel more explosive, and you're going to elevate your game when you feel good. And it's not a lot of times, and this is even me. Again, I fall victim to so many things that I talk about on here because it's through experience too. Is like I was to the point where like not even trying in practice as hard as I should have. Freshman, sophomore year, 100%. By the time I was a junior, senior, junior year, it was my habits. I didn't sleep enough. I hardly drank. Junior year was my habits. And I always tried hard, but I always like partially practiced, not to my max, so that I could play as hard as I could in games. And I know for a fact there's other athletes out there like that. But imagine you can practice as hard as you can because your body feels good. And that's what happened. That's what happened my senior year is I started to feel good. My body started to feel good. My muscle started to feel good. My mind created the game as my outlet because no matter what was happening around me, the game was something that I was playing. It felt like I was a kid again playing the game. It didn't feel like I was working. I was a kid again. And I absolutely loved it. And because I loved it, I played as hard as I could. But it was in practice. And a lot of it was because I was doing myofascial release and I was hydrating. Myofascial release, hydration, sleep. If you make sure that you get all three of those things and you have a training program that is focusing on really lengthening your muscle and then contracting it where you're training functionally and athletically, like if you have a training program that's training functionally and athletically and you pair it with myofascial release, proper hydration and nutrition and sleep, like you will feel great. But it's got to be consistent. So it's like you're practicing consistently 6 days a week. It needs to be consistent. You have one day where you miss out on hydration, one day that affects you significantly. That affects your practice. If that affects your practice, that means you're going to be having to play catch up the entire rest of the week. It adds up. And that's what I mean is like, we have to see it as a priority. You're beat down on muscle. Now we need to take care of it. It's like, don't just beat down, beat down, beat down, and don't massage. We need to learn how to be soft. And the thing is that myofascial release is not soft because it actually hurts. You have to be willing to push through some of it because when you're done, your body feels better. And I'm telling you, once you see the way that your body feels when you start doing myofascial release consistently and you hydrate with electrolytes and you focus on everything that we've talked about throughout this conversation, I mean, it's going to elevate your game and you're going to feel so much more confident going into your practices, knowing that you feel good, you feel your best. So like right now, if you feel like you're not playing at your best, like if you use the percentages and you're at like 60, 70% or 85%, and you need to be at 100 so that you feel your best and you can perform, there are things that we can do. And yeah, maybe we'll never get to 100. But if you could do as much as you can and get to 90, get to 95, and really start to feel good each and every day, what better it is than that? And this is all things that I wish I had known when I was still playing, especially at the high school level, because this stuff was like I was completely ignorant in how to train in high school. And for me, like if I could go back knowing what I know now and train the way that I do now in high school, holy crap, because that would have given me a faster that would have made everything come a lot faster. It just would have made me feel more confident on the field. It would have made me feel better while I was moving. And that was something that I had to wait for because it was until I really realized that there was a way to train that wasn't beating down my body to the point where like I was feeling tired and in pain and sore at practice and not able to play my best or just feeling super negative and run down mentally because of how my body felt. So if this feels like you or this is something that you may be going through, shoot me a message. Again, the reason why I post things out here is because I feel like we can work together and we can help you start to overcome these mini little challenges that are coming in front of your way. Because all it takes is just acknowledging these small little, like you're a great athlete, but there's always these micro things that we could patch and make you an even better athlete. And when you work with somebody, it just helps us get there at a faster rate because we're pairing my knowledge and experience or someone else's knowledge and experience to your exact experience that you're in right now. So anytime you work with somebody, they're giving you things that they just wish that they knew at your age or however old you are. So if that is you or this video resonated with you or you're a little confused or anything, shoot me a message and let's talk.